labor externalization. A recent report was revealed that every other week from the sector of labor externalization, Uganda sees 2,000 women or females heading out of the country to the Middle East to serve as maids. Over 2,000 individuals. And normally some people call them bakadama, I think, from the perspective. This is a very huge concern for the country, and in a time when we hope that things will come to a change, at the time when we hope that clearly the government is doing enough to provide and avail jobs. The government, in this particular report that we're getting into, intends to ban labor externalization. Now, when you look at the figures of 2,000, that is only 2,000 people who actually exported out of the country annually. No, that's 2,000 people weekly, and those are only maids. But remember, we've got others who are exported out as security guards. We've got others who are exported out as drivers and all that, you know. So when you look at all those figures, disturbing. For if you are a parent, you would see that some parents also feel bad. You've raised your child, gone through all these good schools, spent all this money on this particular child, then you even end up actually sending them out of the country to school. And then apparently there are no jobs in the country, so they opt to go to the Middle East. I'm not saying it's wrong or bad, but then you would wish to see your child having, with some of the cases that happen with the Middle East, it is actually 50-50. There are those that have actually benefited greatly, and then there are those that are still crying because of mistreatment in there. But for others, I think this is something that happens and a very huge concern. Well, as the government intends to ban labor externalization of the country, our bigger question would be, how shall we be able to fit this level of unemployment in the country? We've got a number of young people who do not have jobs currently. How will they be able to get jobs? How will they acquire jobs? Because the job market in the country, or the employment space in the country, is limited, which makes it very difficult to come out and comfortably say that we are ready to get this done. So that is something of a huge concern from the perspective of Uganda's labor externalization. But then, let's have a detail from this particular report regarding labor externalization. But first is Ronnie Mukundana. Now, Ronnie is the PRO of the Uganda Association of the Externalization of Labor. So he's actually getting into more of, at least giving us more details regarding externalization. So if I'm to, before we actually bring in Ronnie Mukunda on the issue of the externalization of labor, if I'm to help you understand more, is that every other day, I believe we've got some friends of ours who are already working, who are already there working. So Ronnie Mukundani is actually giving a note on this particular issue regarding labor externalization in the country. Because the other issue would be, why should we end or put an end to this? Do we have available jobs? Because we can put an end to this particular one, and then we apparently fail to move further. Now, Ronnie Mukundani, in this particular one, on matters, giving a comment on the issue of labor externalization, is the PRO UERA.
Understand that a lot of unemployment exists in this country, and this sector does so much in reducing or basically fighting the unemployment and employment, bringing a lot of money to this country. The latest reports we have is that the money that comes in, or foreign earning in this case, from labor externalization, or it comes to about 1.2 billion US dollars. So this surpasses other sectors like coffee, but and that's not all, because there's also money that is paid here that the government receives directly, which we call non-tax revenue. Money that, for example, goes to the passports, money that the government receives from the job orders or from the job vacancies that are paid for in the destination countries.
All right, here's the PRO that is Uganda's Association of the Export on the issue of the exporters from that perspective. Now, what the bigger question would be, how ready are we if we're to ban this issue? Do we have the employment opportunities for these Ugandans that have actually been yearning to leave the country to go and search for greener pastures? Not only that particular perspective, you would wish to ask as well, what will happen if they stay? Do the available jobs in Uganda pay as much or pay good money that can sustain someone is leaving? So those are some of the other questions. Because once someone opts to move out of the country and go abroad, then they want the money. It's not entirely because they feel they can't do this no more, but because the money is less or there are no jobs either way. Now with this particular one, still on the matter of labor externalization, later on in the third hour, we will be having Barigi on ground to build more on that perspective. But let's first have a look at the statistics on the number of Ugandans that have been exported out of the country, especially to the Middle East and the other countries in Asia, and then to see that is between 2016 to 2021.
This sector contributes towards the economy more than some sectors. Now the question is, what will be the fate of all these Ugandans if the government decides to ban labor exports? Because when we look at statistics, this is what we see. A number of externalized migrant workers by sex from 2016 to 2021, and the year of 2016, 504 were females, 2,035 were male, that is a total of 2,539. On the year of 2017, 2,991 were female, 2,126 were male, giving us a total of 5,117. Moving on to 2018, 14,808 were female, 6,196 were male, giving us a total of 21,004. Moving on to 2019, 17,605 were the females, 7,758 were giving us a total of 25,363. The females in the year of 2020 were 5,604, while the male were 3,422, giving us a total of 9,026. Moving on to the year of 2021, 77,606 were the females and 10,851 male, giving us a total of 88,456. For that period of 2016 to 2021 was 119,118, and the male side was 32,387, giving us a total of 151,505. Now moving on to the Ugandan migrant workers deployed per destination countries and gender for January to December 2021. We have destination countries. In Jordan, we have 0. And in male, we also have 0, giving us a grand total of 0. Moving on to Afghanistan, we also have 0, with a number of the male 0, grand total 0. Moving on to Saudi Arabia, we have 75,656 female, 4,038 male, giving us a grand total of 79,694. Moving on to Bahrain, where we had 0 females, 19 male, giving us a grand total of 19 individuals. Moving on to Qatar, where we have 865 females and 3,245 male, giving us a grand total of 4,110. Moving on to Iraq, we had 0 females, and then we have 677 males, giving us a grand total of 677 individuals. Going to Somalia, we have 9 individuals who are females, and then we've got 823 males, giving us a total of 832. Moving on to the United Arab Emirates, we've got the 1,000 1,073 females, and then we've got the 2,028 male, giving us a total of 3,101 grand total. Moving on to Kuwait, we have 3 females. We've got the 9 males, giving us a grand total of 12. Moving on to Poland, where we have 0 females. We've got 11 males and a grand total of 11, giving us the total of January to December 2021 of the females outside of Uganda being 77,606 and the males 10,850, giving us a grand total of 88,456. Now moving on to the number of migrant workers deployed per month and sex in 2021. Moving on to the number of migrant workers deployed per month and sex in 2021. We've got in January 328 female, 2,378, giving us a total of 2,706. Moving on to February, where we have 550 male and 4,706 female, giving us a total of 5,256. In March, we've got 778 male and 7,888 female, giving us a total of 8,666. Moving on to April, we've got 616 male and we've got 10,498 female, giving us a total of 11,114. Moving on to May, we've got same 616 male and we've got 8,189, giving us a total of 8,830. Moving on to June, we've got 641 male and then we've got the 8,189 females, giving us a total of 8,830. Moving on to July, where we've got the 710 male, and then we've got 6,856 females, giving us a grand total of 7,566. Moving on to August, where we've got 763 male and a total of 7,385 female, with a grand total of 8,148. Moving on to September, we've got 927 male and 3,777 female, giving us a total of 4,704. Now moving on to October, we've got 1,497 and 5,311 females, giving us a total of 6,808. And moving on to November, we've got 1,924 male and 8,669 females, giving us a grand total of 10,593. Now moving on to December, we've got 1,500 male and we've got 8,859 females, giving us a grand total of 10,359 migrant workers deployed in Uganda.
When you look at the statistics, we've exported more female workers, employees out of this country than the male. Between 2016 to 2021, if you're to break down this particular one, in 2016 we exported more male workers than the female workers. Then from 2017 coming upwards to 2021, figures stand, tables stand. 2018, 2019 and 2021 saw a very high number of Ugandans moving out of the country. We eliminated the 2020, you wouldn't see a lot of figures of 2020 because of the travel restrictions. Back then we were having only those who were coming back. So this is the bigger worry. And 2018, 2021 and 2019 shows figures that we exported more laborers, casual laborers out of the country to the Middle East. And if you're to break down most of the countries that have received more employees from from Uganda, there is the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Saudi Arabia picks up for the female workers, then secondly UAE employing a number of male workers, then Qatar comes in third. But also breaking it down for you, there are other countries where we've actually been exporting labor, Kuwait, Somalia, Turkey, a number to name them. Then also when you look at the perspective since 2016 to date, press time, we're exporting more females than the males out of the country in terms of figures. That is through the legalized labor exporting companies. But remember, there are also those that actually move out on their own, and there are those that actually use unlicensed labor exporting companies. So in the long run, you get to hear of different scenarios of mistreatment and all that. But these figures, just to break it down for you, clearly shows you the state of the nation currently, whereby someone would choose to spend their entire life working away from Uganda, thinking they would make more money. There are those who have actually made the money. But the pain of the most is spending 2-4 years out of your country and then returning back to zero, because most probably maybe the money you worked for was taxed, or it wasn't that enough to at least make a change in life. And the people you've been sending the money maybe to make some developments have not been of help to you as well. So clearly, Uganda's labor exploitation is in that space. A bit worrying for all of us, as government is intending to ban it. One would still ask, are there available jobs for the situation? And how true and how feasible is that statement? In the second hour, in the third hour, and our last hour of the show, we will be going on ground with Barija Andrew to digest more matters about labor externalization in the country and try to see what is the way forward. Is it a better option? Do we have the jobs that we're going to create for these people or not? This is Smart Men's Business. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Stick around. I'll be right back at 9 a.m.